Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. I am also a graduate master builder certified by the National Association of Home Builders. I'm also president and CEO of Gibson Home Builders Incorporated. Our topic today is going to be maintaining your home, and my guest is Jean Gibson, my wife, vice president of Gibson Home Builders. How are you this morning?
Good morning. It's a good thing I'm your guest, huh?
Yeah, well.
Okay, I get to start first.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I called Joan Campbell. You remember Leon and Joan Campbell for Native Shade Tree Farms?
Right.
And they were decimated by the spring hailstorm, and their trees were so battered. And I lost touch with them. I couldn't find Joan.
Right.
So I finally reached her. Those people escaped the Texas heat.
I know.
They've gone to New Mexico.
Jumped in their RV and left.
Hooked them out of here. So I got hold of her and in New Mexico, and she said they were coming back to town. They were going to be on the show with us today.
Right.
Isn't that nice? And I said, this is great. We can get an update on how your trees are doing, how our trees are doing with all the drought.
Right.
She called me back 2 days ago.
And
they got into town. The temperature was 110. And they packed up their RV and left town again. She said there is no way they were going to stay here in the heat. But I did ask her about the trees. With having a sudden freeze in the winter, the hailstorm damaging the bark and knocking off leaves on our trees.
Right.
And then this extreme drought. She said,
Not good.
No, it's not good. It's one hit right after the other for our wonderful trees. Now, their tree farm was badly damaged.
Right.
And they were encouraged that the trees that were snapped off, beaten up and all, had leafed out again. She's got crews out there keeping them wet. But she said, we will not know until next spring how our trees are actually doing.
Well, we may not know for several years on some of these that are going to be drought stressed. And,
but it's one hit after the other.
I know.
Personally, at our place, our big trees were defoliated.
Yeah.
Part of the evergreens, one side, we've got a gigantic cedar out front, and the side toward the hail, when it was coming in, was stripped of pine needles.
Right.
Well, they don't come back. They don't put out new pine needles. They compensate and grow elsewhere. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to have to follow this. And Joan and Leon, if you're listening, I'm really ticked off at you because you didn't take us with you. And we were so ready to escape the heat.
Oh, I know it. We used to go to Colorado every year about this time. It's been about a month up there. But we got, where we're actually having to work for a living now. So
I don't have to work for a living. You do. I'm retired.
We'd like to answer any questions you might have on remodeling or maintaining your home. You can call us at 877, toll-free, 877-341-8950. That's 877-341-8950. And if you need to check out a builder or remodeler before you hire him, and I highly suggest you do, you can go to my website, which is www.masterbuildershow.com. It will take you to my main site. And there is a link there to TRCC, and you can go in and check out a builder, make sure he's registered, or a remodeler, make sure they're registered. They have to be registered in the state of Texas if they're doing work over $10,000. And we're going to talk about maintaining your home today.
There's one more point before you get on to business here.
Okay.
Are you a registered builder?
I am a registered builder.
Well, how come you don't mention you?
Well, I'm the host of the show, and I hate to brag. So,
you hate to brag. You're a lot of baloney. Well, I'll brag for you a little bit. This first thing this morning, I printed out our weekly download report.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it's really very encouraging. We have some very faithful followers for our podcasts, and we want to thank you that it's bounced up. 400 people last week downloaded our show.
And they're spread throughout the world, too. We've got some Sydney, Australia fans. And,
we will not go build a new house. Wait a minute. Yeah. Let's rethink that. We'll go just about anywhere and build a new house.
It amazes me all over the world. And there's places that, I don't speak their language, but evidently they speak ours enough to where they can listen. And but anyway, like I said, you can check out builders and
check out Jim
and check out me.
And he's doing new home construction and remodeling. So if you need any of those pieces,
we do anything that pertains to construction. We'll do retaining walls, swimming pools, metal buildings. We do SIPs, which are structural insulated panels. We do ICF, which is insulated concrete forms. We do conventional construction. We will even build you a dome home or an underground home.
Or a barn.
Or a barn.
Yep.
Yeah, we pretty well will cover anything. It's a one-stop shop. So
it just makes life a lot easier for you. If you're going to do multiple projects as part of your remodel, it's a whole lot easier just to say, Jim, this is what I want the end product to look like, and let him handle all the details.
You know what the main problem, as far as maintenance of your home and keeping your rooms particular temperature and controlling your environment.
Yeah, it's getting your husband off the couch to go do things. This maintaining your home is really called the honey-do list.
Well, yeah. But if you do it as time goes on and then keep up on it, it's not that big a problem. It's when you don't do it for a long, long time, and then it gets to be a problem because there's so many things to do to correct. But if you stay on top of it, it's not that bad.
On top of maintenance.
On top of maintenance.
One of the things that I heard on the news, too, and they're suggesting with this superheat,
right,
is that you close your drapes, close the blinds, cut the direct sunlight in. So part of maintaining your home, too, is interior, and close those drapes up. We've opened a window to exhaust the closed air, the hot air, and get some fresh air in. But for the rest of it, we've got the drapes closed up and everything feels cooler.
Yeah, but on the houses we build normally, we put in an outside air exchange unit, so it automatically changes out the air in the house. And it's conditioned air, so it goes back.
But we're living in an old house, so we have to do it the old-fashioned way. So tell me how you're going to maintain our home.
Well, the first thing that you need to do is go ahead and stop all your air leaks. And so you need to,
winter or summer.
Winter or summer. That is the main problem with most of our houses. They're drafty. You can go in and it's difficult to cool when you've got, or heat if you've got outside air flowing in there.
But how am I going to do it? I'm a little old lady.
Well, you call me.
Well, but tell me, no, some of these things I can do myself with that sticky tape that you put around doors.
You're calling weather stripping?
Yeah, I can do that. I just stick that on and slam the door shut.
You know, the easiest way to tell if you've got an air leak is just carry around a candle and go up to the openings, and you can tell whether air is going in or going out.
Just the doors?
The doors. You can go around a door with a candle. You know, just don't touch anything with it. But
and windows have direct air leaks?
Yeah. Windows, if they're not caulked and sealed properly, you've got air leaks around the windows. You've got air leaks around your plugs. You've got every penetration.
What about a fireplace?
If your damper's not closing properly in the summertime, you're losing a lot of...
What can you do about that?
Call somebody that works on fireplaces and let them check it out.
And they can fix the damper or seal it somehow?
Yeah, they can make it where you're still going to have some kind of airflow through it, but you want it minimal. Our biggest loss are not ours because we use a lot of foam, but on recessed lighting, every place you cut a hole in the ceiling, you've got a leak. But anyway, we've got to take a break. We'll be back here in just a couple of minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties with a selection of interior and exterior lighting fixtures. They also have ceiling fans, mirrors, and vanities in all sizes. A lighting consultant will help you with your decisions. For an appointment with a Fort Worth Lighting consultant, the number is 817-597-6320, or the website is fortworthlighting.com. 817-597-6320 for Fort Worth Lighting.
Croft Foam Insulation and Protective Coatings has over 25 years of experience in the spray foam business, serving residential, commercial, and industrial clients. Croft Foam specializes in open and closed cell polyurethane foam applications to construction, refrigerated trailers, and even castles. Croft Foam is a Fort Worth-based company. You may reach them by calling 817-482-1664 or email at foamman@swbell.net.
North Texas Basements, 817-770-2768. With over 30 years of experience in residential construction, add extra living area, storm protection, and extra room that will be easy to heat and cool without needing a large piece of ground to build on. Think about having a basement in your next home. North Texas Basements, 817-770-BSMT or 817-770-2768. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I'm your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford, and my guest today is my wife, Jean Gibson. We're talking about how to maintain your home. And like I was saying, the thing you need to do is control your environment, and the way you control your environment is seal up your envelope, which is all your walls and around. Chimneys, recessed light fixtures, every place we've cut a hole. What we do is go in and flash with foam, even on our houses that we put blown-in insulation in. And what it does, it seals all the penetrations through the attic there. And we had one house back, several years back, that we had blown in cellulose that we lived in. And you were going around and saying, what's this black stuff on the furniture and stuff like that?
It was blue.
Blue stuff, yeah. Well,
blue dust.
Cellulose is recycled newspaper, and it's treated with a borate solution, and it's fire retardant. It's insect repellent.
That's terrific, but I didn't want it on my furniture.
And where we were getting the blue stuff was through the ceiling. This is one of the first houses I think we built for ourselves that we didn't. Nobody was using the foam back then. Yeah. And so all that dust and stuff and foam came down through the recessed lighting, and really around any light fixture. If you've got blown-in cellulose or blown-in fiberglass or anything, just dust up there, it will infiltrate into your house. And that's the reason you try to keep a positive pressure on your house, a little positive pressure on your house to force that particular, particulates and stuff out, and not let them come through there. But since then, we've got where we seal around everything and do kind of a cocoon wrap, is what they call it. And it seals all penetrations. You got
to give me solutions for somebody. I'm concerned about the lady who's trying to maintain her house alone. Now, if she can't do all the closed cell foam, what other options? Give me some other options.
Well, there's several steps you can do to control or reduce air leaks, and mainly it's caulk and weather strip around your doors, windows. Caulk and seal air leaks where plumbing and all your ductwork comes in through the wall.
Is that and there's an air leak around the plumbing pipes?
There could be.
Okay, but this is me, little old lady living alone. What do I do about that?
Caulk it.
So it doesn't take. Oh, that's that. Just squeeze the tube stuff around.
Yeah, you can go.
And you don't have to get the big gun.
You don't have to get the gun. You can go down and buy
a little tube
of caulking, bathroom caulking.
Okay.
And if you're going to paint the surfaces, you need to read the label, though. It has to be paintable because there's a lot of silicons out there, 100% silicons, that are not paintable. And if you put them on there, they last for a long time. Yeah. But you can't paint over them. So you want, it depends on what you're doing.
All right. Tell me about the water tub, water leak, water pipes. Underneath the sink where the water pipes come in?
Yeah, if they're coming in through an outside wall, they don't have to be coming through an outside wall because they could get penetration through the attic.
Or through the floor.
Or through the floor if you've got pier and beam. But you just go in and around the scutcheon. And the scutcheon's
What's a scutcheon?
The little metal thing that goes around.
Oh, okay, that's a great
around
word.
The pipe that goes through the wall.
And I put caulk around that?
No, I would pull that scutcheon out away from the wall just a little bit and caulk around the pipe and then push the scutcheon back. You could, actually go around it, but it'd make it a little difficult to get the scutcheon off if you ever had to take it off.
Right, but that sounds like a neat way to do that and seal it out.
You're still going to have a leak around where the pipe goes through the scutcheon. Now, the scutcheon looks like a little round washer.
It's a disc.
It's a disc with a hole in it that the pipe goes through. Yeah. And you put that on to cover up the hole that goes through the wall. And so even if you caulked around that, you're going to have where the pipe comes through the center of it. Will have an air leak, so it's best to pull that scutcheon back away from the wall just a little bit, and then put caulk around the pipe, and then push that scutcheon back up in place. But
if you've got a pipe under there that's leaking and can't afford a plumber, is there something you could put on those pipes to stop them from dripping?
Nope.
Just a drip, not a gush.
Nope.
Nope. You have to have a plumber to come in if it's dripping?
Yes. Well, I would, unless you know how to repair it yourself, because most of our houses out here, we're going to have 40 to 60, maybe even 80 pounds of pressure. 80 is real high. Most of us, like at our house, we've got 60 pounds of pressure. Well, no matter what you put on there, you could try to put something on there and tape it up, and try to stop it. Well, constant pressure on that's it's going to eventually fail and start leaking again. And there's been several times, not with us, but there's been several times that a nail was driven through a pipe in the building process, let's say. Well, it was just enough, and the nail actually sealed the hole when it went in the pipe. Well, over years, around that nail started rusting and deteriorating, and actually the water starts eventually just dripping out.
Into the wall. Okay.
And
that's more than I could do on my own.
Yeah.
Okay.
And things like that, you've got to actually tear out the wall and fix it, but there's no other way. And that's where the black mold comes in and all that. But how much difference does it make if I seal the air leaks around the pipes? It makes a great deal of difference. You're controlling your environment, and that's what you want to do.
But this is one little piece of a great big puzzle, though. I'm trying to find things I can do myself. So I can do the weather stripping myself.
You can do the caulking.
And the caulking. Squeeze it on and
now,
then...
you may not be able to do all the caulking. I mean, it depends on how nimble you are and if you've got ladders and stuff, because you need to go up.
Ladders?
Well, you may have to go on the exterior and caulk around. It just depends on what
do you caulk on the exterior?
Around your windows.
You caulk them on the outside?
Yeah. That's where the water will come in.
Oh, okay. So, I'm just thinking being inside.
It depends on how your windows are installed and how they're exposed to the exterior. And some windows require caulking, some of them don't. But if they weren't properly installed on the newer ones, they may require it, they may not. Most of the newer ones don't, because they're installed. I know we have, where if they're flashed right when they're put in, then you don't have any problems. But if you go around and, like I said, the easiest thing to do, I wouldn't take a candle around curtains, but
still, if you open the window and you hold a candle and there's air blowing.
Open the window, close the window.
No, open the drapes.
Open the drapes.
And then.
Yeah, you can just take a little candle around and check it for leaks.
And you honestly think that it's dramatic enough to move a flame on a closed window?
Yeah, and on outside walls, all your electrical outlets, where you've got electrical outlets, you can put candles around those, or some of them you can even feel. They use different types of things that they use, but smoke, like the old way was use smoke. And you can see that, and we've got to take another break, and we'll be back here in just a couple of minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving the building professional in Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties. Services include planned takeoff, site walkthrough, and delivery. For an appointment with a Fort Worth Lighting consultant, the number is 817-597-6320, or the website is fortworthlighting.com. Again, it's 817-597-6320 for Fort Worth Lighting.
Croft Foam Insulation and Protective Coatings has over 25 years of experience in the spray foam business, serving residential, commercial, and industrial clients. Croft Foam specializes in open and closed cell polyurethane foam applications to construction, refrigerated trailers, and even castles. Croft Foam is a Fort Worth-based company. You may reach them by calling 817-482-1664 or email at foamman@swbell.net.
Alamo Appliance, 100 South Riverside Drive in Fort Worth, has been serving your needs in kitchen appliances since the early 70s. They offer Genair, KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and many other appliances. And their sales staff is ready to help you anytime you might visit. That's Alamo Appliance, 817-531-2701. Once again, the Alamo Appliance number is 817-531-2701.
Are you having a construction-related issue? Do you need a construction attorney? If so, you may call the law firm of Kelly M. Davis and Associates. Kelly's family background in the construction industry has led to her focus in construction litigation with over 9 years of experience practicing construction law in and around the metro area. For more information, you may visit www.kmdalegal.com or you may call 972-434-8009. That's 972-434-8009. Kelly M. Davis and Associates. Principal offices are located in Lewisville, Texas.
Join me, Jim Gibson, every Tuesday from 8 to 9 a.m. for the Master Builder Show. Let's talk about green building, building new homes, remodeling existing homes, and energy-efficient building techniques, and answering any questions you have concerning building or remodeling. I will also tell you what to look for when choosing a builder or remodeler. I am Jim Gibson, a graduate master builder certified by the National Association of Home Builders. So call me on the Master Builder Show, Tuesdays, 8 to 9 a.m., QXFM. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I'm your host, Jim Gibson. My wife is here, Jean Gibson. And we had a caller call in that's listening to our podcast up in Wyoming, wondering about foam and if he could do it himself. You can do small jobs by yourself around the windows and
like those little cans.
Yeah, with those little cans, and they've got two different types. You've got one that expands, that's a closed cell foam, and one that's an open cell foam. And read on the can, they've got some that are specified for around your windows and some that are not.
Oh.
Because they expand at a rate that will actually warp or make your window hard to open or close if you use the wrong kind of foam, because it puts so much pressure against the frame that it will, like I said, it'll warp it and you won't be able to open it or close it. Now, on large applications, you need to hire a professional, because this stuff is it takes a special equipment, and they spend quite a few $1,000s buying this
and
equipment.
And it makes a mess if you don't do it right,
and
overblowing it.
It is dangerous if you don't do it right.
Is it flammable while it's being sprayed?
It puts up, it creates a great deal of heat on the closed cell foam, and so when you see them doing the applications, they spray in like 1 second burst, or not even that. Yeah. But they will spray it, let it swell out, and it takes it just like 7 seconds, I think, to cure out completely. But if you sit there and just stand on it, you've got a possibility of combustion.
Wow.
Okay. Because it tremendous amount of heat when it's curing. So, like I said, they shoot it in short bursts, let it swell out, and then they'll come back and shoot over that area again and then bring it out to whatever thickness that they desire. But there's several professionals that do it, and I recommend it highly for new construction. Now, going back in and doing it in a remodel, it's rather hard to do, because it depends on, most of our homes are vented attics, are not conditioned space down here. And more we're building conditioned space where we come in and we'll spray the foam on the rafters, and we use an open cell foam and spray it, and you seal all penetrations to the attic. You don't have any soffit vents, you don't have any ridge vents, you don't have any vents at all. Right. And your conditioned temperature, your downstairs, or where your living space actually migrates through the sheetrock. And so to do it on a remodel job, the only way you could do it is actually replace the insulation that's on top of your sheetrock in your attic. And so you'd have to take all that out and then come back in and spray the foam on top. So it can be done. And I'm not saying it can't be done.
But there are better options.
Well,
certainly more easily doable.
Yeah,
options.
there's some things you can do.
Can you do a radiant barrier yourself?
Well, I wouldn't.
Isn't that? It looks like it's just aluminum paint.
It is, but there's special equipment to do it, and you're talking about. I mean, it's not like taking cans of aluminum paint up there and spraying it. I mean, you've got quite a bit of volume up there, and so there's several people that do that, and it actually contains metal flakes in the paint itself, and what it does, it reflects. It's a radiant barrier, so it reflects up to 80%, I think, back out. And you know, the ones that we do them in the new construction. We just go ahead and put the decking up there with the radiant barrier already attached to it, and our attic temperatures stay 30, 40 degrees cooler than they would normally. And that's what you're trying to do, because most of our heating and cooling equipment here is in the attic. And the more conditioned space that you can have around that heating equipment, or heating and cooling equipment, then the easier it operates. It doesn't have to make drastic changes. And
the other thing, listening to you talk about decking, because that's what we do so that you can walk around up in the attic. If you have fiberglass batting, the one gentleman talked about all the fiberglass batting that he put up in his attic, and then he put down the decking on top of the fiberglass batting and packed it all down real tight so he could walk around.
Well, see, it totally negates the R value when you do that. The part of the R value is the expansion of that and the air that's trapped in that batting. So you can't. I mean, I was talking to one builder out in.
Somewhere.
I'll just say somewhere. And he'd been building for a long time, and he said, I said, how much insulation you got in your walls there? And he said, I've got R19. I said, you got 2x6 walls? He said, no, I got 2x4 walls. And I said, well, how'd you get an R19 in there? He said, well, I took R19 bands, I stuffed them in there and put sheetrock up. I said, well, you don't have an R19. You probably got less than an R7 or an R11, because you actually flushed the insulation and negated it. So you can get an R21 in a 2x4 wall if you use foam, because foam is like R7 per inch, and you get 3.5 inches in there. So you can actually get a lot of insulation. If you got lots of money, I mean, that's what you would do. It's not necessary, because there's certain on insulating. It's not the more is better. There's a certain amount that you go to that is kind of just a waste of money. It's like running outside naked when it's 0 degrees.
Yeah. And
then going back in and putting on your first layer of clothes and say a jacket, and then running back out. There's a drastic difference in how you feel. Now you could go back in the house and put on 2 more jackets, and it will not make as much difference as it was from naked to your first
one
layer.
Jacket.
Yeah, one jacket.
This is an analogy that I haven't heard from you before.
Well, that's about the easiest way to explain it.
Yeah.
And so,
but how does the average homeowner have any idea when they've done enough?
What you need to do is climb up in the attic there and look, and if you can see your joist,
rafters,
your
the
joist. No,
boards.
you're going to see the rafters holding the decking up.
Okay.
The joist that holds your ceiling sheetrock up. If you can see those, you don't have enough, unless you've got foam. Now, if you've got foam, like I said, it's not apples to apples. It's R7 per inch, and it takes so many inches.
But if I can see the boards on the floor, standing up on edge in the attic, on the floor of the attic,
and you've got blown-in fiberglass, blown-in rock wool.
Well, even if I have fiberglass batting, I can just lay in more batting on top of that to improve it.
Yes.
So that's just buy the bundles, stuff them in the attic, and unroll them.
Well, you've got to put them in there right.
Do you have to?
Just a question. If you're going to put in the fiberglass insulation, all that stuff, I know you have to wear special types of gloves. Do you still need to have someone there to watch you to make sure you do it right, so you don't mess it up? And
if you have bats down right now in the attic, I would suggest that you just get some blown-in fiberglass or blown-in cellulose and blow in on top of it, because bats.
Now, people who don't know what are bats, what are you talking about?
Bats are the sheets of insulation. They come in like 16-inch width and
the big bundles of pink fiberglass stuff.
That you roll out. And
and they're great when you put them down between your joist and stuff like that if they're installed properly.
Yeah.
And then you can come in. I mean, to add it, then I would suggest that you do a blown-in something like blown-in fiberglass because it will. It's easier to install. It covers the entire surface, whereas bats have in between each bat you've got the crack.
Do they deteriorate over time?
No.
They compress over time? So if they go in at an R12, 20 years later, they're still an R12.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
so it's really not a bad product.
Unless you've gone up there and stomped around them, and most likely if you stomped around them, you fall through the ceiling anyway.
You want a higher R number, is what you're saying?
Yeah, you want a higher R number, and like I said, it's not the way you measure it is like when we go out and install the insulation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, if we're doing blown-in cellulose, let's say, they will say, well, it's blown into an R38 or an R49 or whatever. And they can actually get in there and fluff that stuff, and where you've got a great deal in there.
Yeah.
And so when they say, well, we blew in 12 inches.
Yeah.
Well, that is not the way it's supposed to be measured, because they fluff it. And so what you want to do is look at number of bags used for square footage. If they say, okay, I've got, I used 40 bundles for so many square foot to get, and that's the way the manufacturer has it to where you know that is the proper amount, because you're going to have some settling, like on cellulose and stuff, it'll settle. And so will the fiberglass, blown-in fiberglass, it will settle a certain amount. So, yeah, you can have 14 inches blown in there, and over a period of time it may be 10 inches, but it's number of bags.
Okay. Well, we've gone through a protocol that if your electric bill is too high and your house is too warm, then there are things you need to check out. Check for air leaks, improve the insulation, right?
Well,
you can do radiant barrier in the attic. There are other ways to check out your house, though. The one big thing to do is to have your air conditioner serviced and the filter changed.
Yeah, that's one of the main things that people don't do. They get in the house, and now it depends on the type of filter you got. Also, we put in a lot of media type air filters, which are a large filter that goes up between the air handler and the unit itself. And you change them every 6 months to every year, depending on how often you open the door.
Well, what about the thing that's sitting out in the yard? Don't you have to hose that off and get the leaves and dirt out of it?
Keep all debris away from it.
And all plants and trees cut away from it, too.
Yeah, you don't want anything blocking it, because that's how you get your cooling, is your fan is pulling the air through those coils.
Right, so get the bushes back away from around it.
Yeah, I mean, you can hide them with bushes, but you don't want them too close. You don't want them to block the airflow coming in, so you need it free on all sides.
So if you go through the protocol and you've sealed the leaks, you put extra insulation in the attic, you may have done the radiant barrier, that you keep your house closed and the drapes pulled to cut direct sunlight beating into the room, the air conditioning service is really the key point.
Well, air conditioning, heating system, you need to have it serviced at minimum of once a year. I suggest that you have them checked out when you change seasons. I mean, when you're going from cooling to the heating season, have somebody come out and inspect it.
But there are more things to do on this honey-do list, isn't there, other than air conditioning and air leaks?
Oh, there's several things. I mean, you go around, check around your chimneys. That's flashing around your chimneys.
Why?
And stuff.
You mean way up at the top?
Well, the best thing to do, if you've got attic access and you can look up in there, you can see if it has been leaking for any length of time. You'll have some staining up in there.
So we're looking for water leaks around?
Yeah.
And I like drippy faucets are the ones that get me crazy.
You know, they've got, there's some surveys been taken that just the leaky toilets, the runny toilets and stuff, it's enough to fill an average size swimming pool in a year. And that's out of one household. That's a lot of leaks.
You know, and it's a major issue. Other than the terrible heat that we've got right now, and the trees are being desiccated, the Texas is browned out from this. We need to conserve water all the time, and that's a pretty dramatic leak just from having the toilet run on.
Yeah, they've got all sorts of new types of toilets coming in now that
But that's the stuff inside. I could change that stuff inside.
You got a flapper down there
that
you could change fairly easily. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that your float is set to the proper height so it cuts off and doesn't flow over. Now, because it's got a little overflow in there that actually will fill up, and you can hear it running. It's actually your float's not cutting the valve off that's feeding the water to the toilet itself.
But faucets outside that are dripping, kitchen sink that's dripping. Mm-hmm. I never thought about the dishwasher because I don't see any water outside, but it's liable to have a drip or two in there too. Be nice to check in under the sink.
You wouldn't notice that. Yeah, under the sink, but
you would notice it.
Yeah, and most likely if it's leaking behind the unit there or where
where you're going to find the damage.
It's probably going to be if it's leaking enough. Yeah, it'll probably flow out. On
at the front. If not, it's going to be seeping into the flooring under the house, something in the back.
Leaking up the back wall.
Yeah, it could be nasty. And they other sources of water and slow leaks, ice makers. That's a water supply.
Right. Anything with water supply has the possibility of leaking.
So air conditioning and water, and change out the light bulbs. How effective is that?
Well, we're talking about maintenance. We're not talking about
maintenance too. I can't change those things that you put in a 17-foot ceiling and there's a light bulb up there. So if you're going to change one, change them all at the same time.
Well, they make poles that you reach up there and unscrew the bulbs, and and most people that have those high ceilings that have those recessed lighting or something that have some type of pole or something that they can reach up there, unscrew the bulb and put it in there and replace it. But the things that you want to look for is go around and inspect your foundations on the exterior. Well, if you notice any settling, any cracks in your foundation,
but it's 105 degrees. Everything's drying out and cracking. The earth splits.
If it's built right, it's not cracking. But if you notice something, doors sticking, windows not operating correctly,
front door sticking,
mm-hmm. and you need to correct it or find out what the problem is before it gets too far along. And we've got to take another break, and we'll be back here in just a couple of minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Are you looking for a law firm with an understanding of the construction industry? Kelly M. Davis & Associates experience includes home inspections, construction contracts, disputes with builders, and helping subcontractors or vendors that have not been paid for their services. For more information, you may visit www.kmdalegal.com or you may call 972-434-8009. That's 972-434-8009.
Kelly M. Davis & Associates. Principal offices are located in Louisville, Texas. Croft Foam Insulation and Protective Coatings has over 25 years of experience in the spray foam business, serving residential, commercial, and industrial clients. Croft Foam specializes in open and closed cell polyurethane foam applications to construction, refrigerated trailers, and even castles. Croft Foam is a Fort Worth-based company. You may reach them by calling 817-482-1664 or email at foamman@swbell.net.
Alamo Appliance, 100 South Riverside Drive in Fort Worth, has been serving your needs in kitchen appliances since the early 70s. They offer Genair, KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and many other appliances. And their sales staff is ready to help you anytime you might visit. That's Alamo Appliance, 817-531-2701. Once again, the Alamo Appliance number is 817-531-2701.
North Texas Basements, 817-770-2768. With over 30 years of experience in residential construction, Add extra living area, storm protection, and extra room that will be easy to heat and cool without needing a large piece of ground to build on. Think about having a basement in your next home. North Texas Basements, 817-770-BSMT or 817-770-2768. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am the Master Builder, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. My wife is here, Jean Gibson. We're talking about how to maintain your home.
And it looks like Yoda.
Yeah, right. What we do, let's start on the exterior. Let's just go out, stand a distance away from your house and look at it. And just kind of, and then start and go either clockwise or counterclockwise and just kind of look for...
Yep. Check the
things.
paint, the chips,
well,
the sags.
check the paints, check your soffits and your eaves and your fascia.
You know what I do that's just really easy?
What?
All the dust out here, I hose the house down.
Right.
It just looks brighter. It looks cleaner. There's dust out here blowing around because the ground's so dried out. That's a real easy way to perk the house up. It's just to wash it off.
Well, the main thing you're looking for is I know you look for dirt, but you're looking for inspect them for like loose or rotted areas.
Yeah.
Inspect for
bubbling under the paint where you can't. I couldn't tell that it was bad till I touched it.
Yeah. Well, it needs to be redone then.
Yeah. You did.
You want to look for damage by like squirrels or raccoons or anything because they can really cause a mess once they get up in there. I mean, they like to chew
wires and stuff.
Chew wire, and if you've got PEX piping, they like to chew that, cause leaks.
And what about trees overhanging? Nice, cool, great big trees rubbing on the roof.
That doesn't help. And they cause a great deal of damage, especially if the wind starts picking up. And you don't want anything touching your house. A lot of people like the vines and stuff growing up on the house, like the trumpet vine and all that stuff.
English ivy.
English ivy. And over time, I mean, they're great. They're great looking and all this, but over time they actually cause damage because they get in there and they will pry away your fascia, pry away your soffits. They can actually, in little cracks in your brick, after they go in there, can actually cause deterioration around the brick area. It was
I think it's the grout that the English ivy actually deteriorates the grouting around the bricks.
It's mortar.
The mortar. Okay. I was close. It's the stuff in between. And it's lovely, and it's a wonderful nest for all kinds of bugs that use that as a direct access to the house.
Right.
I love English ivy, but it needs to be on a wall, not on a house.
Well, like I said, just walk around your house and look for anything that's unusual. And you can pretty well tell when it's not right. I mean,
But you've done this with people, too, that wanted to do some remodeling, and they have other things they wanted to change. And you've been really good about this, walking a house with someone and showing them things, just like we were talking about inspections.
Right.
That's effectively what you're telling them to do for maintenance and to make their list.
And you can, and it's best to catch anything in the beginning. If you can correct it in the beginning, you have no, you lead off or ward off problems in the long run. Back, I think when I got my first car, I'd put gas in it and I'd go. As long as it would go, I would drive it.
Teenagers are like that.
Didn't think about changing oil, didn't think about doing this, didn't care about what tire pressure was. As long as it rolled, it evidently had enough. And you'd be surprised how fast I wore out the first vehicles that I...
Yes, I was much more concerned with the polish on my Triumph than
the
anything else, and it did roll.
Same way with houses. The way we build our houses now are like a fine-tuned engine, and they require maintenance. They all require some maintenance, even though we say they're low-maintenance houses, because we do a lot with Hardy and masonry, and our paints we put on are 25, 35, 45, 50-year guaranteed, and... So,
but it doesn't mean you never go back to
right.
them.
It doesn't mean that you don't have maintenance to do. I mean, there's certain things that require maintenance, like your HVAC and your which is your air conditioning heating systems.
The roof. Texas roofs take a worse beating than others around the world.
Well,
I also heard about something too that if the sidewalks sag or a section of the driveway sags and cracks, there's a company out there that's going in underneath. It's kind of like they do foundations, and they pump something in there to lift them back up again to eliminate the hole. I thought that was great. I mean, an old sidewalk that's cracked, and it's lethal. It's a real trip hazard.
Well, usually you've got some kind of problem causing that to start with. Either it wasn't.
Well, the ground is eroded underneath.
Why did it erode? You've got to have something that you've got to have some either movement under there of some type. You've got to have either you've got a drainage problem that's forcing the water under there.
Yeah, to
or
wash
you've
the
got
dirt out.
a spring under there, or you've got
I didn't think of it from that side.
Yeah, I mean, if it's sinking, there is a problem. Either it wasn't put in right, or you've got something causing it. So, no matter if they jack it up or not, you're still going to have the problem that caused it. So you want to correct the problem. Don't just put a Band-Aid on it. So if you can find out why and correct that.
That goes on your honey-do list. Find out why and then correct. And the other thing in maintenance, too, is the proverbial insect invasion. Well, I thought I was going to get eaten alive by chiggers this year, and the dried molasses has done wonders in our yard.
Yeah, and I don't know if that helped the chigger deal, but it
sure helped me. I thought, it doesn't kill fire ants; it drives them off. So if you clean the trees and the bushes away from touching the house, trim branches from trees off the roof and away from the house, just your criteria is just that they don't blow against the house, right?
Yeah, you don't want them swinging against the house because they're going to cause wear on your roofing or on your, anything that they're rubbing against. A constant rubbing is an irritant, and with all the debris blowing around, I mean, it might as well take sandpaper or whatever and just rub up against it constantly.
And that'll do it.
And that'll do it.
The power company's been coming out, too. They went through our woods. And they trim the trees away. It's the same concept. Trim the trees away from the power lines.
Right.
If you see a power line that's being rubbed.
Don't you trim them away.
You call them.
You call them.
And they come out and trim them.
Right. Yeah, don't ever.
What about electrical outside? What should I look for wires outside?
You shouldn't have any exposed wires outside other than your
What comes
wires.
into the house?
Well, but that's your main power feed that the power company will take care of.
All right. So if you see anything or concern there, it's a phone call to the power company to check it out.
Right.
Okay.
Now, on your outside outlets, your plugs, you want to test your ground fault circuit interrupters, which you should have a little button on them, on one of them. And we put usually 4 or 5 around the house. When we're building new construction, our code is one in front and one in back, but one of them, they're both should be ground fault circuit protected.
Those are the ones with the little hatch door on them.
Well, yeah, they don't have to have a hatch door, but if they're in the weather, they do. But if they're up under,
your Christmas tree plugs, you mean, that you put in?
Well, we put the hatch doors on those, but no, the ground fault circuit interrupter is something that if there's any surge or anything, it'll kick that breaker.
Okay.
And it'll kick the circuit, and we've got to take another break, it looks like. We'll be back here in a couple of minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Are you looking for a law firm with an understanding of the construction industry? Kelly M. Davis and Associates experience includes home inspections, construction contracts, disputes with builders, and helping subcontractors or vendors that have not been paid for their services. For more information, you may visit www.kmdalegal.com or you may call 972-434-8009. That's 972-434-8009.
Kelly M. Davis and Associates. Principal offices are located in Louisville, Texas. Croft Foam Insulation and Protective Coatings has over 25 years of experience in the spray foam business, serving residential, commercial, and industrial clients. Croft Foam specializes in open and closed cell polyurethane foam applications to construction, refrigerated trailers, and even castles. Croft Foam is a Fort Worth-based company. You may reach them by calling 817-482-1664 or email at foamman@swbell.net.
Alamo Appliance, 100 South Riverside Drive in Fort Worth, has been serving your needs in kitchen appliances since the early 70s. They offer Genair, KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and many other appliances. And their sales staff is ready to help you anytime you might visit. That's Alamo Appliance, 817-531-2701. Once again, the Alamo Appliance number is 817-531-2701.
North Texas Basements, 817-770-2768. With over 30 years of experience in residential construction, add extra living area, storm protection, and extra room that will be easy to heat and cool without needing a large piece of ground to build on. Think about having a basement in your next home. North Texas Basements, 817-770-BSMT or 817-770-2768. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I'm your host, Jim Gibson. My wife, Jean Gibson, is here, and we're talking about maintaining your house. One thing we haven't talked about is the water heater. If you've got a tank-type water heater, most people never, ever check it. You know, as long as they turn on the water and they got hot water, it must be working great. But, you know, out here, I mean, a lot of us are on well water, and
I refuse to discuss this. We own more coffee pots.
Yeah, but we're talking about water heaters.
But it's the same concept.
Same concept. Well, what you need to do is periodically, at least twice a year, is go out there and hook a hose. There's a little spigot on the bottom of your water heater.
Should I be tacky enough to ask you if you've ever done this?
I just replaced the water heater when it goes bad. I'm telling you what you should do. But you can take
Shoemaker's children.
Take like a bucket and run that garden hose out to the bucket and open that valve at the bottom of the water heater.
Yeah. What's down there?
Well, if you've got a lot of sludge, it's going to come out.
Well, we've got a lot of lime. That's what's destroying my coffee pots.
Don't worry about the coffee pot.
No, I'm saying we have a lot of lime. Is that sludge the lime?
Yeah. Well, that, I don't know if that'll flow out or not, but you can tell if you've got debris or anything in your hot water heater by opening that valve and draining it into a bucket and see if you've got debris. If you've got debris, then go ahead and let it flush for a little while and try to get
Where do you discard this stuff?
It's just out on the ground.
It's not dangerous.
No.
It's
water you're drinking, water you're bathing with.
Is flushing through this sludge?
You flush the tank.
I understand that, but this sludge is in the bottom of the tank where your water's coming from?
If it's coming out of your well, I'm saying if you have sludge.
Yeah.
Okay, coming out of your well.
But I don't understand. Is this all the water's in the center of that tank being heated up? Is this junk laying in the bottom of where the water is?
Yeah. If you've got sludge in your water, it's going to collect in the bottom of that tank.
Well, wells bring up sand.
Yeah. So you could, and that's why I'm saying you can go out there, hook a garden hose to your water heater at the bottom, and just run it out. And you could run it out onto your driveway or wherever you want to run it. It's going to be hot. But you can tell if you've got any sludge there. And if you've got some, then you should go back and periodically
drain that out.
Yeah, drain it to alleviate sludge problems, and that way it'll make your water heater last a little longer.
Well, are the heating elements sitting down in the water?
Well, they're in the water, but they're not at the bottom. It depends on what.
So this sludge stuff isn't around the elements?
It depends on whether you've got a gas water heater or if you've got an electric water heater. And we're talking about tank type because the electric ones have two elements, most of them. If you've got like a 50-gallon water heater, they've got one down low and they've got one up higher. And you can have one of those elements. People say, well, my water heater went out. And, I've changed elements all my life in my own water heaters when they go out, because they will go out. If you've got, there are two rods that are in there that, if you know how to do it, you can pull them out.
How do you get to them?
You drain the tank and you
have to shut everything down first.
Yeah, you shut everything off, especially, it's on an electric one, you change the elements. Now on a gas one, you've got all the heat comes from the bottom. You've got the jets at the bottom that are heating the tank. So what we're talking about is sludge right now.
Right. So you're heating the sludge.
Well,
in a gas
if it's in the tank.
Yeah.
But like I said, the main thing is just put the water hose on it, open the valve, drain the sludge.
But what difference does it make with taking the sludge out?
You're going to make it last longer.
You're making what? The whole tank last longer?
Yeah.
Does it corrode the tank?
It doesn't. It builds up in the tank, just like it builds up in your coffee pot. Mm-hmm. So if it's in the tank, then it's going through your pipes, and it's going into your faucets. It's going into your shower heads. You're taking a shower, but if you've got it in your water anyway, it's going to be going there on the cold side. So the main thing is what you're trying to do. We're talking about maintaining the water heater.
Yes, I understand that. I just don't understand how they work.
Okay.
As far as I know, it's just a big.
Well, the water goes into
tank.
a holding tank on a tank-type water heater, and heat is applied to it. And when you turn on your faucet, it comes out of that heated tank. There is a valve at the bottom of the tank that you can determine whether you have sludge. And if you determine you have sludge, then you need to flush it every so often.
You know, we pour Rid-X down into the septic tank to maintain that bacteria environment so the septic tank continues to function. Is there anything you can add?
Don't add anything. What you do is you either put iron blockers or filters or water softeners, and
between the
you
well
put them in
and
at your entrance right after your pressure tank.
Oh, okay. And if it's on city water, you could still have the same problem. So it's not just because you have a well.
You bring it in before your pressure tank. I'm sorry, but anyway.
But even if you've got city water, you can get sludge. It's not just something with our high mineral count out on a well.
We've had problems with some locations out here with co-op water.
Yeah.
And all that they've had lots of debris in it. And
it was sand in the
sand
water.
And gravel in the water, which caused some problems.
Yeah.
And,
but it wasn't. But it was nothing in the house that did that. It was coming out of the water lines.
It's coming out of the water lines because they had cut the lines.
Cover septic tanks for me just real quickly. Have you got time to do that? No.
We're out of time this week. And we'll be back here next week. Same time, same place. See you there.